So after 49 episodes of Pokemon Journeys, we've gotten some really good episodes, some that even stand out among Pokemon episodes in general, and we've gotten some really average and some really bad episodes. And since no episode comes out again till January 8th, I won't be able to give you guys any reviews, so today I thought I'd give you a list of my top 10 favorite Pokemon Journeys episodes so far. This was originally going to be a list for my top 10 favorite episodes of 2020, but I decided to include every episode that has aired so far, since most of the episodes have come out this year anyway, and this list was surprisingly harder to make than I thought. And because of that, I want to start the list by giving you my honorable mentions. These episodes nearly made the list. I enjoyed them as much as the others, but I put the others in my top 10 for one or two other reasons. Now the first honorable mention I want to bring up is episodes 1 and 2. I really enjoyed episode 1 because of the Pikachu flashback and origin story, as well as the introduction to Goh and Chloe, and learning how Goh's dream to began with him meeting Mew. And episode 2 nearly made the list. If it was a top 15, it definitely would have made it, because in this episode we get Ash and his meeting with Goh while riding Lugia, and this is easily the greatest way Ash has ever met one of his friends. The last two I want to mention are episode 13 and 27. Episode 13 is where we get Ash battling Leon, and Ash deciding that he wants to participate in the World Championships. And episode 27 is where we got Leon versus Raihan, and Ash catching Galarian Farfetch'd. That's also the first episode that set up the Darkest Day arc. So with my honorable mentions out of the way, let's go on to the top 10 list. So coming in at number 10, we have episode 36, Making Battles in the Sand. I really enjoyed this episode because of the character development it gives Goh in the battle against Flygon. Because in that battle we see that Goh has an understanding of type advantage. We also saw him take control of the battle when Ash couldn't. And he came up with a strategy to defeat Flygon by himself, using Flygon's own Draco Meteor against it, leading to his win. This is probably Goh's greatest battle of the series so far, and it's definitely his greatest catch of the series so far, and might be his most well-deserved catch so far. So at number 9 we have episode 39, Ash vs. Bee, Conquered the Octolock Hold. In this episode we get the return of Chuck, the fighting type gym leader of Johto, and we get Ash and Bee's rematch, which I really enjoyed because we got to see Ash battle with Riolu and overcome the problems that they were having in the last battle. This battle also showed us how Ash and Riolu's bond has continued to grow in between those episodes and so far throughout the series. And my favorite thing about the battle might have been the outcome, since it ended in a tie, meaning that Ash still has room to grow and he couldn't just like one-shot Bee and then leave. She's actually going to be a challenge that he has to overcome. And after this battle, this solidified Bee as Ash's #1 rival in the series going forward, and gives us more battles to look forward to, especially since they both want to beat Leon. So coming in at number 8 we have episode 46, Mewtwo Strikes Back Again. This was the episode where Mewtwo returned, and I wasn't the biggest fan of this episode at first, probably because they overhyped the episode, so it didn't live up to expectations upon my first watch of it. But after rewatching it, I realized that the point of the episode was for Ash and Goh to reflect on their goals and dreams, especially Goh, who in this episode gives us his clear reasons for wanting to catch Mew, aside from completing the Pokédex. And the battle with Ash helped him understand that he still has a ways to go in battle. And Mewtwo's words at the end where he says that their journey has only just begun was the perfect way to end the first quarter of the series, making this a great transition and reflection episode for both Ash and Goh. So at number 7 we have episode 12, and it was very hard picking between episodes 12 and 13 since I like them both equally, but I didn't want to have a two-part special taking up like 2 spots on this list, so I decided to go with just episode 12. Because in this battle we get Lance versus Leon, which was the first battle between champions that we've ever gotten in the series. And this was our introduction to the World Championship. And the battle ends with Leon winning and Lance congratulating him and saying that he was happy to battle Leon, and putting Leon on a pedestal by saying that Leon is the trainer everyone should strive to be like. And this really set up Leon as the strongest and as Ash's future goal. And it's because of this that Ash challenges him in episode 13 and then decides to enter the World Championships. So because this is the episode that catapulted all the events of future episodes for Ash, including the next one, I put this at number 7. So coming in at number 6, we have episode 34, Solitary and Menacing. And this episode was Ash and B's first matchup, and up until this point, Ash hasn't lost a single battle in the World Championships at all, and his only loss in this series has been to Leon in his first Gigantamax battle. And after beating Karina in episode 25, he was super confident, and even I thought that he would be fine. But B quickly established herself as a powerful enemy and completely demolished Ash, giving him his first loss in Pokemon Journeys, and probably one of his worst losses in the entire series, seeing as how he lost without beating any of her Pokemon at all, and he dropped in rank. And this loss affected Ash so badly that he couldn't even think without considering his loss to B in his next few battles. And ever since this episode, Ash hasn't used Galarian Farfetch. I really enjoyed this episode because it showed that Ash wasn't just going to cakewalk through to the World Championships and make it to the top 8 easily. He's going to have to go through people like B who will actually challenge him and possibly even defeat him in battle. Now on to my top 5. So at number 5 we have episode 21, Caring for a Mystery, and this is probably one of the most long-awaited episodes and moments in the entire series of Pokemon, because in this episode Ash gets Riolu. And one of my favorite aspects of this episode was how it showcased that the egg was destined to be with Ash, since we learned that the egg is from Sinnoh and hasn't been able to hatch with anyone else. And in this episode we saw that Ash was able to sense the egg calling for him while he was battling with Pikachu, because of their aura connection. And this episode was great for Ash, who gets a Pokemon who I expect to be his ace Pokemon in this generation, and for the fans because we get to see Ash have a fan favorite Pokemon that we've always wanted him to have since Pokemon Movie 8, and Pokemon Journeys in general, since the connection between Ash and Riolu is something that can be built up to rival what we've had with Ash and Greninja, or at least Ash and Infernape, which is something I'll look forward to going forward. So coming in at number 4 we have episode 45, The Ultimate Sword and Shield, and this was the end or the last episode of the Galar story arc. I probably could have added another episode from this arc, but since they're all part of one arc, I decided to just include the last episode, since this was easily the best episode of the arc. This might have been the most eventful episode of the series so far. We got Leon versus Eternatus, and then Ash and Goh battling Oleana and Chairman Rose, and this is the battle where Riolu evolves into Lucario and Raboot evolves into Cinderace. In this episode we see Ash and Goh become the Sword and Shield heroes as they battle alongside Zacian and Zamazenta to save Galar, not to mention catch Eternatus at the end of the episode. Sonia also finally finishes her last bit of homework and becomes a professor in this episode, making this easily one of the best episodes of Pokemon Journeys so far. And so for number 3 on my list, we have episode 7. This is probably shocking to a lot of you that this is this high up on my list, since it's probably not in everyone's top 10, but I really enjoyed this episode, because seeing Ash return to Hoenn and battle in the Battle Frontier just like the one in Pokemon Emerald, and battle in the Flute Cup and dominating, was easily one of my favorite moments, because we finally get to see the Ash who isn't nerfed because of plot, and it feels well deserved, because now that Ash is champion we expect him to be this strong and dominate this much in battle. And to see Ash battle with his own unique battle style and dominate and win the battle was easily one of my favorite highlights of the entire series, because this episode shows us exactly what we'd expect from a champion Ash. Now on to the final 2. Everyone probably knows what these 2 episodes are, it should be obvious at this point, but at number 2 I have episode 37, I'm Back, Nice to Meet You, Alola. Now this episode might be in everyone's top 5 at least, even if you don't like Sun and Moon, just because this episode opened the door for other companions to return to the series. But I also like this episode because of what we got from the return, like Ash's friends, and this is the first time we've seen Ash's friends from a previous generations since Unova when Dawn returned, and we learn what they've been up to. We also got to see Ash's old Pokemon again, which never happens anymore, and I really enjoyed Go versus Kiawe and seeing Kukui's son. But my favorite thing about the episode is how they continued the Lily plotline with them searching for their dad. They could have easily just ended that by saying, oh, we found him in the market buying moo moo milk, or just chilling in the corner somewhere, but instead they decided to continue the story in a way as to where it shows that the characters are still growing and learning. And this episode hopefully sets up Ash meeting Lily later on during the series. I do plan on making a video about that, probably later on though. So moving on to number 1. There's only one possible episode left for number 1. That is episode 25, A Festival Reunion. This episode is for sure in everyone's top 5, regardless of as to whether you're enjoying the series or not. And this episode was great for a lot of reasons. The biggest highlights of the episodes to me were the return to Kalos itself, and I believe this is the only time we've ever been to Kalos, meaning the return to Kalos is special in general, and the return of Karina and Mega Lucario, since it means that other returning characters who aren't even companions can possibly return too, and this also further opens the door for returning companions like Dawn, May, Iris, and Serena. Another major highlight was the return of Mega Evolution, a fan favorite concept. And with the return of Mega Evolution to the series, this could mean a lot going forward, because it could mean we may get to see Ash or Goh with Mega Pokemon, or just more Mega Evolution battles in general. This also opens the possibility for the return of Ash Greninja, who could be the final member of Ash's team. But the biggest highlight of this episode was without a doubt the battle with Mega Lucario, and this was my favorite battle of the series so far. Ash was pushed to the edge with Dragonite, who had to overcome 2 Pokemon since Gengar was useless, and one of those Pokemon being Mega Lucario. And I thought Ash was going to lose at one point, where we get that sequence where Lucario knocks Dragonite out of the sky with Aura Sphere, and then sends it flying with Power Up Punch. And that was probably my favorite battle sequence of the whole episode. But we got to see Ash's Dragonite strength on full display, since it was able to get back up and keep fighting, leading to it beating Mega Lucario. This is easily one of my favorite non-6-on-6 battles ever. With all that being said, those were my top 10 favorite episodes of Pokemon Journey so far. Let me know what yours are in the comment section down below. I look forward to more interesting and great episodes in the future. Thanks for watching, and bye.